Alright, what's happening, folks? Starting this video again. Had a few technical issues. This is AnyForty lockdown live stream. We're going into Friday, week 6 of lockdown, and we're taking a visit to Bristol. Gonna chat to our man Gavin Strange, aka JamFactory, and we're gonna have an hour of nice creative chit chattery. So let's get it on. Let's get it on. Boom. Mate, what's happening?
Hello, mate.
Technical difficulties on my end, man. I think
Of course, bloody technology.
technology, yeah, where would we be without it?
I like that we've colour themed our rooms as well. You've got a nice bit of minty teal and a bit of white and
Yeah.
a bit of graphics, and me too. Nice. It's almost like we're designers, isn't it?
Mate, yeah, someone's done some forward planning. I was going to mention that later, but look at that. I reckon that might have started off my whole love of this minty teal colour palette.
It's such a good palette. Like minty teal. You can't beat it. It's
Yeah,
fresh. It's juicy. It's nice. It works on anything. Put it against dark. Put it against white.
beautiful. Mate, and we put it with silver and fucking fluorescent orange.
Did
Who's
you
done
have to
that
get
before?
permission when, not permission, but did you, if you were saying like, oh, I think we need some metallics, we need foil, did you have to, was it a difficult process to go through?
Eh, because it was a creative magazine and they needed it at that time to jump off the newsstand. It was relatively easy, but sometimes the publishers would try to like rein me in a little bit, like, oh, do you really think you should be putting like hot pink with like orange, like in fucking purple? And I'm like, yep, we
Yep,
need to do that.
yep.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for jumping on board one of these live streams. This is going to be the last one I do for probably a week or two. They're good fun, but they're hard work, man. Hard work, a lot of planning, and having to just refresh a little bit about the artist and the friend that you're talking to. Just remind yourself a little bit about
Mm.
stuff they've done and in your kind of history of working with them. So let's just jump straight in. We first started working together in the golden days of 2008, I believe.
Bloody hell, pre-economic meltdown. What a time to be alive that was.
Mate, I think that was at the start of the last one.
Yeah, yeah, 2008, yeah. Was it
She,
us? Was it us working together that did it?
I think so. That started the steady meltdown. But I was talking to someone the other day. I can't remember who it was now, about the fact that I managed to grow AnyForty in the middle of what was a shit economic time. So there's hope once the world comes out of this current shitstorm that people can grow businesses again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, full props to you for doing it as well, because I mean, also, were you to know that there would be yet another economic crash and a global pandemic?
No.
It's just,
Who would?
it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, anyway, back to your original thing of, thank you for having me, mate. And it's been a pleasure. It's been a bit of a wild ride, isn't it? Me and you just making stuff, and the good old days of, obviously, sadly now computer arts projects and computer arts is gone.
Yeah.
That was an era, wasn't it?
Mate, yeah, it was a golden era. It was a lot of kind of good memories. And I was even thinking back, I can't remember when we actually first commissioned you to do a piece, but I think it must have been because we even had you on this cover. Do you remember that, the Chuck Anderson banger?
Yes, of course, yeah, because you had your mate riding doing the wheelie on the bike, right? And you just
Yeah,
needed someone on the back. And I lived about 10 minutes walk from, not even 10 minutes walk. That was at the bottom of Park Street in Bristol, and I
yeah,
was at the top living with Rich T. And I remember just grabbing my skateboard and just popping on down.
that was it. I think it was like me and Joby
Mm.
and Finn who was on that, and when we shot that in the nighttime and then sent it off to Chuck Anderson in, you would have been in Chicago, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, first of all, two things there. Obviously, Joby, looking at Joby photographer's work. So if people in the chat, please do go look at Joby Sessions' work.
Yes.
Takes beautiful photos. Old friend of ours, and then was it Chuck Anson who did
Yeah,
the
Chuck
graphic?
Anderson. Well, no pattern.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look at what Chuck's doing now with, he was heavily involved in the Chicago Bulls, wasn't he? He's sort of
Yeah,
like their
yeah.
go-to sort of visual graphicsy photography. He's got a super interesting story actually. So yeah, that was great. That era of making stuff, right?
Yeah, mad times. Like Chuck went on and did Lupe Fiasco's first album cover. He'd done
I
some
did.
incredible stuff. So that was, we were kind of, we knew each other at that time. I'm sure you would. I can't remember if you were you like a regular in computer arts before I started?
A little bit, I think. I can't remember the years really. I can't remember if I started doing computer arts the first, then projects. No, I think I
Yeah,
was. I think I was. I'd done a few little bits and bobs here and there for illustrations, and just I think what really helped, to be honest, was always be willing to say yes.
yeah,
Because obviously the deadlines are always tight, but that I think is a, not to discredit anyone, but if you've got someone on the end of the email that's like, yeah, man, I can do it, I can get on it,
mm,
that always helps. So as well as it, hopefully having the skills and talent to deliver stuff, if you're kind of just ready and raring to go,
oh yeah,
especially in the commercial world of print stuff, right? That was just
yeah,
sort of like, because you must have got it with projects where you're like, we've just got this one bit where we haven't got it nailed yet. What would be great is an illustration or piece of photography, and then you need to commission someone
yeah,
super quick.
mate. And that's probably a good lesson for people's careers. Just say yes now, and then sort it out later. Work out how you're going to do it. Because there's a lot of artists that I still work with these days. Like, you can send them an email, and somehow they'll just magically find the time. Like yourself, like Melbs, just oh no's, just loads and loads of people. They'll always magically find the hours in the day, which I don't know how to do it. Especially you, like being a dad, a partner, full-time job,
I think
passion
that's
project.
it. I think you make the time, like you say, you kind of make the time. But funnily enough, actually, on the other side of that, last week, for the first time in a very long time, I had to officially give up a project that I'd started, and I just couldn't deliver.
Oh,
I don't want to go into too much
yeah,
detail, just but it was, yeah, and it was both really frustrating and annoying and upsetting, because I basically knew I couldn't. I was pushing myself in my comfort zone, and I was like, no, I can do this. I can definitely do it. It was just a different sort of framework for me to get it done in a specific time frame. But
yeah,
super early on, even in the first sort of few hours, I was like, no, I think I've bitten off more than I can chew. And straight away, I flagged it. I flagged it with the people I was working with, who were good friends, but also still, professional relationship. And just sort of says, I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to go too far down this route. What the worst thing will be is spending their time getting to the end of it, delivering something subpar, and they go, oh, so I just had to bow out, and that was kind of like, I'm really glad I went through it in the end, because it was,
yeah,
it's always nice to get those moments where you go, oh no, this is real life.
yeah.
Sometimes creativity can be really tricky, and you can bite off more than you can chew, and I'm kind of glad it did that. But it was yeah, it felt the right thing to do, to just very early on say, I'm so sorry, but I've got to bow out now. So
Yeah.
those
And
frustrating things are good, aren't they?
they would have appreciated it. It gives them lots of time to crack on with finding somebody else. So I've
Yeah.
been in that situation before, probably mainly in the computer arts days, where you might have commissioned someone to do work, and often those days it was like a 2 week deadline or a 3 week deadline, and you might have got someone contact you like 2 weeks in, just saying, look, I fucked up, I'm not going to be able to do it, and you're like, fuck, I'm in trouble now to get someone to finish this in like a week. But quickly back to those computer arts days, just if anyone's not seen it, this was the cover we did, which was incredible. But I feel like in those early days, and I just knew you as like Gav, the vector guy, which is brilliant. If you wanted something done vector, character based, like solid lines, stroke palettes, Gav was always the man to go. But over the last 12 years, mate, you've gone off to do, like, obviously from your art and illustration stuff, you've done blooming toys, you've done documentaries, you've done film stuff with work, you've done a whole world of like speaking, creative lectures, um, music videos, music album covers. How the fuck did this journey go? And did you imagine the journey was going? Did you think it could go that way?
No,
All of
no, no, and never thought I could. I mean, it all just feels like quite a natural evolution, really, in a sense of I sort of credit I think I've had 20 years in the industry now because I got my first job when I was 17 and I'm 37 now. And I'm kind of doing, and this is what makes me happy. I'm doing now what I did then, and that was basically trying to find the bread and butter that will get me paid, that a sustainable job, whether that was in the original days being a junior designer, learning skills on the job, and then developing everything else I was interested in my own time. And then when I went freelance, obviously your time is a bit more moldable, but I still had my bread and butter, which was digital design at that time, to get me paid. And then I still use my own time to expand. And now I'm a full-time director and designer, and then I use my own time to experiment and do it. And I think just what's happened is over the years I've always used every platform I've had to sort of share what I'm up to, and I think I'm quite honest in sort of, this is passion project time, this is work time. But what I've definitely found from people looking on the outside, at the end of the day, if you're looking to get into an area or do something, people don't really mind when you did it. It doesn't matter, if it's up to a certain quality or an aesthetic or a feel, and that person is looking for that exact same thing, it doesn't matter to them. So yeah, I've really sort of just tried to live by that. And to be honest, I enjoy it so much doing it at the time, in that figuring it out. It's not, of course, you'd love every sort of passion project or side hustle to launch you into a big fledgling career, but it's not happened like that. It's nice to kind of, because you're not in control of that. What you are in control of is what you're doing in that moment, and trying to get your enjoyment out of it. And I think if you just then over the years, build up a body of work, then perhaps people might change their perception of what you can do. But I just really like, I just really enjoy the creative process as much as I did then, as much as I do now,
Yeah, you
so.
can tell that now, especially like as you say, you're 20 years in, I'm 20 years in. Like some people do get a bit jaded and a bit almost like fed up with it all, but it's clear that like you're still as passionate and as enthusiastic about stuff as you were like when I first met you like 12 years ago,
I
which
think
is
you
why,
have to be,
yeah,
really.
you've got to love what you're doing. Like we could all, there is moments like when things are stressful, things are worrying, but where a lot of us are living the dream jobs that a lot of other creative people want to do, but just haven't managed it yet. Like there's a lot of creative people that I know that have got just normal jobs. Not that there's anything wrong with normal jobs, but they're doing stuff that they would kill to do what people like us are getting a chance to work on, which is awesome.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah. I mean, life's too short, really, and I think if we're so fortunate to be in this creative career, and also to sort of, I think it's really important to remember that the baseline for a creative career is making the logo bigger, choosing some typography, trying to convince a client why your idea is an enhancement on theirs. Like, it's not big and it's glamorous. And again, you must have got this in the world of future, where everything you're reporting on is super big brands, super big redesign, super big everything. And that's the edges, that's the fringes, I think, of a creative career.
Oh
Actually,
yeah,
what you need to be happy about is making a little logo for a small gas company, and just
yeah,
putting your energy and effort into it. You should be putting in as much energy and love for a logo for a mate as you would for something at work, because hopefully that's your enjoyment, is problem solving
yeah,
and creating something for someone. Of course, there's added excitement when it's like someone you really love, or a music artist, or that, of course that is, and that's the stuff
yeah.
we hear about in the magazines and talks. But actually, the other stuff should be celebrated as well, because we're getting away with this being a creative career, to make stuff for people.
Yeah.
So,
And also, like, I think a lot of our careers are a bit like, as people say, personal life on Instagram. So it's cherry picking the highlights. Like I've grown AnyForty for 12 years now, and it's only the last 2 or 3 years when I've progressed it into an agency where I'm getting to work on fun client jobs where they trust us to do creative stuff and guide them. But before that, I've done like most of my bread and butter work that I wasn't showing was brochures and price lists for hairdressers, logo branding for like video production companies, and not exciting stuff in the slightest, but it's all real life stuff. And I like I say, treat those projects the same as you would if Nike came calling wanting like a new sub brand done or a new clothing brand.
Yeah, because that's the training ground as well, right? How you treat a client, how you reply to an email, how you conduct yourself at any level is a reflection of you. And you know, we should all want to be remembered as because actually, you know, again, when you are commissioning people, you must be like, I get a good vibe from that person because the communication is easy. Just getting a hold of them and just having a bit of a chat and just trying to, like anything, just like a frictionless, warm relationship with another human just makes everything better. And of course you're going to benefit from that if that's at the end of the connection is making something from someone. But it is very easy to forget, and of course life gets stressful, bills get stressful, dealing with, you know, when things don't go rosy is stressful, of course. So, you know, it all adds up why people would be and can be jaded. But I think it is in your control to try and force yourself to kind of get out of that funk. And it's not easy by any stretch, but it is doable. It is something that I think with enough work, you kind of got to work at it like you work at anything else, right? You got to work to try and stay above it and stay positive, but recognize that you will always have dips and always have frustrations and stuff.
That's a good point that you say about being like friendly and people wanting to approach you. I've seen a few comments already here saying, "Oh, Gav's like the nicest guy in the world," and that's a comment that I always hear about you. "Oh yeah, Gav. Oh, he's the best guy in the world." But it's true. Like, not naming any names, but over these last 12 years, I've approached people before about working with them, people whose work I love and would love to do stuff for. And sometimes you just don't get that click. Sometimes they might not be very nice people, or instead of being excited about working with you, they instantly back, well, right, how much am I getting? How many are they making? What's your profit margin? And that just puts you off working with people if you've not got that click and that kind of human side of it. Anyway, it's kind of steering off.
Well, I was just going to say, just to add on to that, I think for me personally, I've just, like all of us, I've worked with lots of people over the years, been very fortunate, and not everyone's been nice, and not everyone's been easy to get on with. And my worst nightmare is to be the person, well, we've all had them when you've worked with someone, and then you end up, you're like, God, they were really hard to do. Or you just sort of, after they've gone or after you've finished or whatever, that's your lingering memory of, yeah, they do great work, but God, they're a bit of a dick. That's my worst nightmare, to be remembered, to be, that's the suffix. That is what people remember about you, that you're a bit of an idiot. And I just, oh, no way. I'd rather be remembered for being talentless, but nice. Absolutely. 100 times over, because that's what's going to go on my headstone. Not like no one's going to write, great at doing vector, really good stroke width, but an absolute dick. Yeah. That's, you know, I want to be a nice human being, first and foremost.
Yeah, I think that's just a great lesson to live life with, and that's something I'm noticing with this pandemic. I don't know what's like in Bristol, like when you're taking Sully out on his skateboard or his bike. Do you feel like people are being more friendly at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's like a shit. It's almost like that you know, that nod of like, oh, this is weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially with the social distancing, because where we go, we only go around the block. We live in quite a quiet part outside of Bristol, and we just go through a jitty just up there and just round. Sully goes on his scooter, I go on my skateboard, but it's quite thin, and Sully doesn't really understand social distancing. So we're trying to bring him in, and it's kind of sweet because everyone's acknowledging that, okay, the kid doesn't really understand, but we understand, and it's that British wobbly head nod thing. Like, what does it even mean? But it's this is weird, hope you're okay sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh mate, like obviously it's dark times and it's kind of scary, but like where I live in it's a relatively new build estate, like done by that red dyed guy. What's he called? He's fashion designer, bald head.
Wayne Hemingway. I went to work for Wayne for 2 weeks in London in my very, very early career.
Please tell me he's a shithead.
No, he's lovely. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, how mad is that?
Yeah. From his house, he had an big old house in Wembley that everyone basically they sort of converted the lounge and the kitchen into a big workspace. And I went and did sort of like a 2 week sort of work. I can't actually remember how it came about. It was through a connection of something. But yeah, he's a really nice guy.
Oh mate, that's madness. Yeah, he's like this estate that I live in, but I almost feel like everyone's pretty friendly anyway. But just walking around, like taking a dog on toilet break, people are coming out of the house and being like, "Oh, you doing all right? How's things going?" So the friendliness thing is great. Anyway, tracking way off art and illustration stuff. I think the thing that I'll always remember, like when we first met you, like owe a lot to you for opening the doors to a lot of other artists that I liked and wasn't really aware of at the time. So I think way back in like when we first did the T-shirt with you, you were like, right, I've got some friends that you need to check out, and it was part of when you did. Was it the Syndic? Was it called
Synthetic? It was, yeah.
Synthetic. That's it. And it was like, was it like Rich T 45, like Norm?
Yeah. Norm Hayes, Way Studio, yeah.
Mackinoff.
Yeah, my buddy Johnny, yeah. Klinger, James Klinger. Klingertron.
Yeah. So, yeah, I remember that, and obviously I went on to work with like 45, Rich T, like Waste, and more guys like that. But that felt like that was a fun time as well. Like,
they're such good guys, yeah.
Yeah, and they're all still doing great work as well, man.
Oh, you look at everyone's career. I mean, I'm still really close with Rich and Johnny and Jay. We've got a Creative Dads WhatsApp group, and every day we're all speaking. Norm is part of this group, but Norm is the phantom, because he literally drops in every 3 months, says one word, then leaves. But it's been lovely being friends with them and being creatives, and then also being creative dads. It's kind of that WhatsApp group is the Synthetic crew grown up. And it's kind of lovely. Everyone's kind of trying to figure out who they are going forward in this. For us, the new era of life is being parents, and how does that play into things? And at the minute, especially with childcare and lockdown, how does that? So yeah, it's kind of nice going through your creative life with a group of friends as well. That's kind of not to be underestimated as well, right?
Yeah, man. No, all great people. Like, I'm chatting to Rich at the moment about a potential project, so that'd be exciting if that comes off.
Nice.
But it felt like back in that time, even Bristol, like I've always loved Bristol. I felt like if there's a city that I would like to live in, it would be Bristol again, because there was a very, very strong creative community around there, around the art and the culture, and even skateboarding with like 50/50.
Yeah.
And it was just, I've just got a lot of fond memories of that time. And like that thing I sent you this morning with the Howies store, the gallery.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was Tidy Mike coordinated that. Who again, talking of sort of connections, he was a filmer of Daniel Wainwright's video part on a very famous DVD called Day in the City 2. It was a free giveaway on Sidewalk Skateboarding magazine. And before I moved to Bristol, I watched this DVD religiously when I was a skateboarder, and I knew Tidy Mike and Danny Wainwright. They were my heroes. And when I moved to Bristol, I remember in the first week I saw Tidy and Danny walk by, and I remember texting my friend going, "No way, I've seen Tidy and Danny who are on this DVD." And then, forward years later, both Tidy and Danny are really good friends because of a network of meeting like-minded people and going to events like art galleries, like the things that you would always put on in Bristol and Bath. And I think that, again, and funnily enough, how events are going to look going forwards is going to be really interesting. But I think I'm also excited for people rising to the challenge of making it work in a new way, because things aren't going to go back to the way they are. We've kind of got to put our brave faces on and adapt and connect people, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, so obviously when I left the Southwest, I went to London. And I felt like at the time when I went to London, it was a bigger world that we had in Bristol with the regular exhibitions and the gallery shows. And then that all started to like fizzle out. Has that happened in Bristol, obviously before this pandemic, or was still a lot of stuff going on?
Well, it's hard to track, isn't it? Because I think it may fizzle out, but also I'm getting older. So my priorities have changed. So I don't hang around after work. I actually move my working hours forward. So I do 8:30 to 5, so I can get home in time for tea time, bedtime, bath time for Sully. So I kind of have to really plan if I'm going to go out. And so I think I'm sure there is. There is. I kind of know there is just from seeing it on social media. There is a really strong creative thread running through all of Bristol.
Yeah.
And I just think it's sort of it gets passed on, you know, the sort of baton gets passed on from young 20 something to young 20 something, because they've got the energy and the time. But also, you know, there's also great people doing lots of good stuff. So I think it's there. I think perhaps you get blinkers on as you get a bit older, just because I guess your priorities change, and when you're younger, perhaps if you don't have any tie or fewer ties, you are far more open to just going, oh yeah, of course, I don't have to be home for anything. I'll go, especially in Bristol, I'll go to the AnyForty, have a drink, and then I'll go to an art gallery, and then someone, you know, you see someone hanging around, so you go and hang out with them, you know.
No, that's true, mate. It is something that I've thought, and I've spoken to people like some of the artists that are in Melbourne and Sydney, and a lot of them have kind of said, yeah, the exhibition kind of scene in London, it's just disappeared, it's fizzled out. But you're right, we're all just getting old, men. We all think we're still young and young at heart in our heads, but yeah, we're old, and there's probably a lot of fucking cool stuff going on that we just don't know about.
Oh, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, mate. I still wear a baseball cap because I think I'm clinging onto my youth, but it's really because I'm bald and I'm old, so I've got to cover it up with something. You know, I'm not.
Yeah. That's what this lockdown showed me, how much grey hair I've got.
It's distinguished, mate. It's distinguished.
Yeah, salt and pepper, I think they call it. So obviously, we spoke about the early days, Vector Gav, and nowadays, like you're saying, you're a full-time director and designer at Aardman. So there's a bit of a journey to fill in that time, going from doing the Vector stuff to obviously the director stuff. And I feel like a massive part of that was Bike's Mind. Is that how you pronounce it?
You pronounce it perfectly.
Perfect. So that was your fixed gear single speed bike documentary, a film?
Yeah, documentary. Yeah. So to give people a bit of context who have no idea what we're talking about, Bike's Mind was intended as just a short film, because there was a real explosion of fixed gear bicycles being ridden in Bristol in the sort of 2010, 2011. And I was fascinated on them from a creative point of view, because all of a sudden these bikes looked beautiful. I liked bikes, but I didn't really ride them that much. But all of a sudden these bikes were super minimal. People were customizing them and they looked awesome. And I got into it. And then sort of just from making films in my own time, I just started working with my friend Johnny, so Makinov, and we thought, let's maybe document, kind of ask the question, why would anyone ride a bike with no gears and no brakes in a city full of hills? And it basically, what was great about that, it was a passion project that went bonkers, because it started as a 5-10 minute short, and then it just grew into a 27-minute documentary. Me and Johnny had made films together for years, just again in passion project stuff, when we met at college. But what was great about that, it just expanded, and because it expanded into a much bigger thing, good old Rich will log off now. He's like, yeah, T is sick. I'm off. He's got a son to look after. Rich, what are you doing? It just grew. And so because it grew, it meant it had a more ambitious title sequence. It meant that I wanted to design T-shirts to go with it. It meant I wanted to design a photo book and DVD package afterwards. It meant that the bigger it got, the more people got involved. So we could have we had a huge premiere outside of in Millennium Square in Bristol, next to the big Silver Dome, on the TV screen outside, which is really hard to do. Mate, it was on that screen, open air premiere in August. Everyone came, brought their bikes and watched it outside. It was absolutely bonkers. So to truncate that a lot, that I think, because I shared that with everyone at work, I had a bit of a screening, and at this point, I was a senior designer. I made no bones about wanting to do more directing and filmmaking, but I didn't go to film school and didn't go to university, so I didn't come through it the traditional route. I was in the industry, but I was making filmmaking on my own time, and sharing that with the guys at Aardman, I think, changed their view of what I could do. And obviously it's me and Johnny look at it now, and we'd cut it by about 20 minutes, and we'd do different things differently, like you always do with your old work. But I think fundamentally for me as a filmmaker, it really gave me a thrill of making something, and it was the biggest thing I'd ever done with a and it was all done with friends who were willing to chip in, and we all made this thing together. So yeah, man, that really sort of changed things for me, I think, and both sort of personally, it set me on a path of I really want to pursue this, but hopefully it kind of gave people at work the to show that I could take on that path.
Yeah. It was a hell of a passion project, man. Like the whole package of it, not like you say, not only just creating, filming, editing, and releasing this physical product as well, but also the packaging and, like you say, the t-shirts and the promo around it.
Let me show you this. I've just realised I've got this. Hang on, I've got to go up to my top shelf. So from the spin-off of that, there was an amazing community that we would do weekly rides and a spin-off of Bikes Mine, because we met so many people, and we then used to do a weekly ride that I'd organised called just a chip shop ride, where we'd ride for 20 minutes. That was it. We weren't proper cyclists. We were bike riders. We'd ride for 20 minutes and then stop at a chip shop, and that was the end of it. That's predominantly, it was a social. And then out of that, I decided to put on a race called Fixed and Chips, where you race all around the city of Bristol, visiting chip shops, collecting points. And the winner received this hand-carved trophy, which is a giant chip fork with the laser engraved Fixed and Chips logo.
Beautiful.
You know, so it just, like, things like this, it was just sort of like, you know, it's lovely engraving. It was just sort of, it just got bonkers. It got really big, and it was really lovely getting carried away with it. You know, find projects if you can that you just love, that you don't plan, plan that they'll go like that. But I think if you get the whiff of, this could go there, it's always fun to try. It might not. It might fizzle out to nothing.
I remember it being huge, because at the time my flatmate Tim Wilkie.
Oh yeah, of course.
Him and Joe as well. They were regularly coming to your rides and stuff.
I mean, now Tim, you look at Tim. He's got his own bike store and just doing great things.
Mate, yeah, he's a hard-working kid. He's a great lad. I miss seeing him over breakfast cereal, even though I've not lived with him for like blooming 10 years.
But that's what's nice, right, about that. Just those connections. I think those early connections, and just watching your friends do great things. It's a real thrill. And that, you know, it's lovely seeing people like Rich in the chat and James in the chat. And, you know, it's just awesome. Sort of, you just root for those people because you're all following a common sort of, you just want to make fun stuff that makes you happy, and hopefully by accident other people happy. That's rad. That's great.
Exactly. So that was your first. You said you'd made movies and documentaries before that, but that was your first main one that kind of took off, yeah?
Yeah, that felt like a different level. And I think, yeah, we've made lots of sort of short, predominantly around skateboarding films, but our skateboarding wasn't great. But, it was inspired by great stuff. And obviously, Spike Jonze being a skateboard filmmaker originally, that sort of, I was obsessed by him. But Bikes Mine was different because, and also to give context to everyone, it was spelled BOIKZMOIND, because in Bristol, everyone puts mind on the end of a sentence, and for example, we'll say, all right, mind, cheers, mind. And so Bikes Mind is just a Bristolian thing, but I removed the comma, smashed the words together and changed the S for a Z, and it looked like a Swiss avant-garde contemporary film. And so it's just a trick. It's just a trick to make people think we were making something serious.
If people haven't seen it, they should definitely go and check it out. Is it on?
Yeah, it's on Vimeo and YouTube and stuff. Yeah, if you just search Bikes Mine. Sorry, I went off track then. What was I saying? Can't remember what I was saying. Don't know.
Yeah, so after you did Bikes Mine, it feels like the next thing that I really saw from you that blew me away, and it wasn't that long ago. Like you've probably done video stuff before that, but was the POS? Is it POS pause?
Yeah, POS. Video? Yeah.
That was fucking ridiculous.
I remember, thank you, mate.
Watching that on screen at off in Barcelona was mind blowing, man. That was an incredible project. Like
really, thank you, mate.
Yeah, man, mate, and even the off titles you did with the little fella,
little off dude. Yay!
The guy doing the vocals to it. That was it. That was awesome as well, man. Mate, I've got so many of your little toys up here.
Little trinkets. Oh, little grommet, little pink grommet.
Next to the inky one. Got Shirley.
Oh, nice.
Is that it?
Oh, yes.
Mate,
good old Shirley Creamhorn.
Creamhorn, that's it. Yeah, that was it. Shirley Creamhorn and Shithawk.
That's it, yeah. But yeah, that POS video. I mean, that was bonkers. So that And I'm so glad you like it. Thank you, because you know, it was made in a lighting room cupboard with me and two other people. And it was a real, like, there was no budget. We just did it because I'm a big fan of Steph, big fan of POS from Doomtree. And we sort of became friends over the years, thanks to a mutual friend who, whenever POS and the Doomtree crew would tour England, when they go to London or Bristol, our friend Sam would sort of just link us up, and we linked up once, and then every time POS and the crew came over, we'd all just hang out, and Rich is good friends with them too. And I think at the time I just sort of said, oh, you know, mate, I'd love to make a video for you at any point. And then it just sort of popped up, really. The opportunity happened, and Steph's brief was great. He just said, just make it dark. That's all he said. And the song is amazing. The bass drop sounds super good. It's short, so in terms of a passion project, you know, if someone said, because he gave me a choice of songs, there was, all of them were great, but one of them was 2 minutes 30, and the other one was 5:40, and it was like, I'm going to do the 2 minutes 30 because I want to finish it. And at the exact same point, Sully had just been born, so I was sort of juggling being a new dad and sort of getting up early with him, but then trying to get up earlier than he would get up early to do the video and stuff, and just juggling. But yeah, you know, I'm still really proud of it because, as well, again, trying to always do it, I still wasn't a representative director at Arbon at that time. This was a few years ago now. You know, I want to take on everything and anything that will bulk out my portfolio and get my work out there. And it was an excuse to do something that, if people have seen my work, maybe they think I just do hot pink and silly, goofy characters, and I'm also fascinated in lots of different aesthetic styles, and I love rap music, and I love music videos, and I love Steph's music, and I love sort of dark visual. So the mask, the POS mask. Yes, I've got it. It's a work of art. It's by my good friend Jimmy Two Eggs, who's a model maker at Ardman. He kindly it's amazing, man. It's a full sculpt. It's a proper.
Fucking hell, mate. That's like,
I mean, look at the detail.
Beautiful.
I don't know if it fits on it. Let's see.
Yeah, do the rest of the video with that mask on.
So that's really
think
nice in there.
Yeah, man. I think
it's because it paused it because it did. It accidentally triggered off my Siri. It's so good. Yeah, so that was a dream project, mate. But it was just sort of, you know, a mixture of live action, which was filmed in a lighting storeroom cupboard at work, where we found some fake plants and got a smoke machine and just threw some different lights in there and dressed my dance teacher friend up in a weird mask.
Mate, incredible. I remember seeing was it part of your talk? Or I remember seeing some behind the scenes pictures or videos, clips of the room getting filled with like fake smoke and the plastic trees and shit. Awesome. So that obviously those two projects were kind of pushed you onto, obviously, in a lot of incredible hard work at Ardman, onto doing that Greenpeace piece. That's your first official director's pieces?
That was the first official director piece was 2 years before that. It was a film for Maya Angelou, about Maya Angelou for BBC Radio 4, and that was all hyper bright coloured motion graphics. So how it worked is 2 years ago, after doing all of this film work, I finally got the chance to be a representative director for Ardman, which means that you are on their website, you are on their roster, and when directing opportunities come in, you are part of the pool of talent. But I was still doing my senior designer role, so I would step up to direct as and when the opportunities would be there, and if people wanted your work. And then so my first job was this Maya Angelou motion graphics piece, which was just a dream to kick off as well, and just as absolute fluke, pure chance, I won that job the same day it was announced that I was going to be a representative director, and it was just pure good timing, and it basically just hopefully made my bosses go, oh, phew, you know, we took a risk on this kid and it's paid off. So that was great. And then 2 years later, I've been doing lots of different styles, you know, motion graphics, 3D, 2D, for different people. And then this Greenpeace project, which came out in February
Yeah.
this year came out.
What a cast for that though.
Oh yeah, so for people who don't know, it's a stop frame CG short film, 100 seconds long, for Greenpeace, commissioned by Greenpeace to basically tell the tale of the plight of the oceans. So due to plastic pollution, overfishing, deep sea trawling, all the different things that affect the oceans, they wanted to tell a powerful story to connect with audiences, and that was the brief. It was very open, and lots of different directors pitched their different ideas, and I pitched my idea, and unfortunately I won. And then it was making this film, but it was awesome. It was awesome to make stop frame animation on that scale, because it was ambitious. Working with just amazing animators, all of the props and the clamshell car that this family of turtles travel in was just a work of art. And the voice talent was bonkers. Olivia Colman was the mum. David Harbour, who's Hopper from Stranger Things, was his dad. Helen Mirren was the grandma. Jim Carter was the granddad. Ahir Shah, the comedian, was the teenager. Bella Ramsey from Game of Thrones was the daughter, and my work colleague's daughter Callie was the 4-year-old who stole the show. And yeah, that element of it was just bonkers, and they were all, I'm really happy to report, they're all nice. Olivia Colman is an absolute dream. She's so sweet, and she gave me a big hug afterwards, and I just was on cloud 9 for about 3 weeks.
She's a ridiculous actor. She's so good.
Oh, she's so underrated as a comedic actress as well, right? Like I remember from Green Wing and Hot Fuzz, you know, just really funny, goofy roles. And then she can, I've not seen it, but I know all about it. But Tyrannosaur, you know, she can do really dark,
that's dark, heavy
roles. You know, she is an absolute queen. And the best bit we worked out was, so Helen Mirren won the Academy Award, won the Oscar for playing the Queen in the film The Queen, and Olivia Colman won the Oscar for playing Queen Victoria, is it, in The Favourite. So we had 2 literal Oscar-winning queens in the Greenpeace film, and Helen Mirren in the film played Olivia Colman's. She's their mum and daughter, so it's like,
mind blown, mate. You should if you've not seen it, I'll message you the name of it later. There was a Channel 4 mini series. I think it was like 3 episodes. It was called Run. It's a little bit like Top Boy, that kind of thing, like London, council housing, very urban. But it's about 2 kids that go and murder somebody, and she's the mom of them, and it's dark as fuck. She's absolutely incredible in that. I'll send you a link.
She's amazing. She's so amazing. She's such a cool individual. And Helen Mirren as well. I had to do that over the phone because she was just about to get on a plane somewhere. She was on a promotional tour, and she was so sweet. You know, she could have been like, look, I gotta go, dude. And she was just like, oh, if you need anything else, darling, just let me know. It's always a pleasure to work with Armin and Greenpeace. And it's like, oh my God, you're amazing. You're amazing.
It's been shortlisted for awards already, hasn't it?
Yes, so it's on the short list for a few awards, but the biggest one is Annecy is a film festival that specialises in animation, and Annecy is also the place in south of France, beautiful south of France, and it's animation royalty. It is the Oscars of the animation world, so for it to even make the short list is an absolute delight. And Sod's Law, the one time I'm nominated in my entire life is when there's a global pandemic and it's online only. But of course, that's not the thing to worry about at all. But thrilled to be nominated. But I would also like to be nominated and go to the south of France, and just to meet people as well. You know, the people there, when you look at kind of the big animated films that have done great stuff, you know, Annecy is always mentioned in their bio, so to be in that world is awesome. But you know, there was a crew of 70 people working on the Greenpeace film, as well as everyone at Greenpeace steering it, so it was a real like massive collaborative effort. It was just a joy to be part of that team. It was wicked,
mate. Well, it's just the beginning, isn't it? There'll be more award ceremonies for you to go to, I'm sure.
Hopefully. Who knows? I mean, who knows what's ahead.
Yeah, just quickly talking about that Greenpeace project. What sort of as long as you're not breaking any rules talking about it with work, what sort of time scale would you have for a project like that?
That was pretty much 3 months end to end. So 3 months full time. Yeah, about 12 weeks, maybe slightly over, maybe 13 weeks. And so that was over the period of 3 months. 70 people came on. It wasn't 70 people for the duration, but me and producer Sammy were consistent across the whole thing. So yeah, I mean that's quite a common. I mean it's also mad for 3 months, 70 people for something that's 100 seconds long, but it also grew in length as well, but it kind of, you know, that's kind of almost not the point, because everything needs to be created anyway, whether it's 90 seconds or 900 seconds, you still need the initial everything. Of course it all scales up, but yeah, it's funny that you can kind of stop playing with the length and it doesn't matter too much, because yeah, it all needs to be created.
So mate, obviously you're having a lot of fun doing the directing, but you're still keeping your fingers in pies in your personal work, like you're saying, with a lot of design work, like that album cover you've just done recently. Was it the Cinema 4D piece?
Yeah, for Ill Move Sporadic, who I saw in the chat room earlier. That's my good friend Neil and his production buddy. Yeah, and again, I'm a big fan of rap music, big fan of the music that Neil makes, and the hit again. Their brief was great because the album's called Drug Corps 2. It's gnarly, and it's just sort of UK rap bangers, and it's all grimy and everything, you know, everything's very textured, and yeah, again, Neil's brief was sort of like dark and grungy, and it was just cool. It was cool to do something dark again. Just, I think sometimes I look at my feed of work or my latest work that I've put out and I go, oh, it's very pink, very pink, very pink, I need to change that. And you know, it's just nice kind of, you know, just when you look back on your own stuff and you just sort of try and guide yourself in a slightly new direction to just for your own satisfaction, right? But it just was great that it aligned with working on a thing for friends. So yeah, man, I love stuff like that. I still love design. Actually, a project that's on those screens that I can't show for Arbin is a big, it's pure graphic design, pure branding. So it's nice. It's nice I jump all the time.
Little Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, and I think that's again another thing. You know, just I think it's useful to know, just to try and make yourself invaluable, try and make yourself indispensable, really. Because if you can solve one problem for a person or an agency or an organisation, then do it. But also, if you can be that Swiss Army knife and go, but I also, it's increasing your chances of staying around and getting things done.
It is. That's kind of what position I'm in with AnyForty at the minute. If I get lucky enough to get talking to a new client about, let's just say they want some branding work, then I can also be like, yeah, but do you need some photography? Do you need some products made? Do you need some animation? Do you need this? Do you need that? Like, I just know for lots of things, which is great, and it makes yourself, like you say, invaluable to people.
At the end of the day, people want to get things done. So actually, if you can reduce the number of clicks or the number of emails or the number of calls or the number of barriers, sometimes it doesn't, but more than often than not, it can increase your chances. So you might as well give it a pop.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Well, let's we've only got about 10 minutes left.
I know.
Let's open the chat up, see if anyone's got any questions. I know Lewis is asked, have you ever thought about collaborating with some metal bands?
Nails.
August Burns Red.
So I would absolutely love to do, like, I'd love to do more music videos, and I would love to do some really heavy stuff. So Nails is a band I love out, and the best way to describe Nails, it sounds like if you got a washing machine and threw it down some steps while someone was kicking you in the head. That's kind of what it sounds like. It's really intense and it's amazing. And I'd love to do darker, heavier stuff. Funnily enough, I think chatting to Lewis about a band, a heavy band, and I honestly reach out to people regularly to see if I can do stuff for them all the time. More often than not, I don't hear back anything, or it's a thank you, no. But I just try and put myself out there. So, you know, especially approaching artists, I'd love to, but yeah, got to just try and put yourself out there, don't you?
I think that's the mistake a lot of people make when you've been in the game for a long time, like we have. You sometimes just wait for people to contact you and think like, nah, you've got to go out there and you've got to keep putting feeders out there.
Well, there's 7 billion people on the planet. There's a lot of people doing what we do. And, you know, it'd be lovely to be thought of that out of 7 billion, someone goes, I know just to call Alan Wardle.
Yeah.
He's the one for me. You know,
Right.
yeah, the hotline straight to you. And as lovely as that would be, Loathe. Yeah, sorry, Lewis is saying Loathe is what we mentioned. Yes, a band that he knows. I keep angling to get him to let me do a music video. So yeah, I'm trying, man. I honestly, I'm not ashamed of just trying to make stuff happen and just being like, I'd love to do this for you. Got to try, haven't you? Got to try.
Yeah, we'll have a chat off camera, but I briefly mentioned it in a text to you the other day.
Was it a text? Sorry, I knew I needed to get back to you and I couldn't find where it was.
Yeah, we'll have a chat about that off camera because it's
awesome.
Still great. Right, so you've got Aid Mills.
Hello, Aid.
A cracking guy. How did you find the transition in early days of fatherhood as a creative?
Really fun. I think from the outset, I just really wanted to stay. I wanted to be. I tried to be ambitious. I wanted to be the best dad, the best husband, the best colleague, the best passion project pursuer. And I knew it was ambitious, but I thought I just want to try. I'm going to try and do it all. And I think what I found is that you can't do everything at the same time, but you can sort of dial in your input levels and try and sort of, it's almost like you've got a finite set of time and energy, and then it's like, well, tonight I just need to dip passion projects. I need to be a better dad because little one's not sleeping and my wife is a bit frazzled because little one's not sleeping. You know, I guess just trying to be reactive all the time. That's probably what I've learned to try and be better at, is to be reactive to the situation and to be reactive to what's most important to my family at any given moment, really. And I think that's something that I'm doing now. And Sully is 3 and 3 months, so you know, and it's always changing. It's changing massively, and just trying to make things happen. So yeah, so it's trying to be aware of what my wife needs and what my son needs, and then hopefully if I put them first and if they're happy, then that means that I've then got time and space to try and do things that make me happy.
Mate, that's a great answer.
You're a great answer.
To get him back down the southwest and meet little Sully again, because I saw him first time I met him was in Jane's belly when you had the strange.
Oh God, yeah, bloody hell, yeah, 3 years ago.
And then so he came to Barcelona with you as well, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he's a well-travelled little baby, that one.
Yeah, he is, man. Right, so we've got Mr. Malbon. Big ups, Chris.
Yes, hello, Melbs.
Any plan on bringing back Cream Horn and the Shithole, which we showed before, or the Droplet, in their very own animation or film of some kind? Yeah.
I'll keep it brief because we've only got 5 minutes left. But I mean, I'd love to. I think I'd love to. Droplets, actually, Droplets is technically it's licensed by a licensing property, but I've just never given it the energy. I think when that happened, I think my sort of career at Aardman sort of felt like it took off, and also I've been doing Droplets for a long time, so my energy wasn't there. It was quite hard with Series 2 to keep it going. But now, actually thinking about it, I'm not sure if I'd do toys again. If I did do toys, I'd love to. I love toys, but I'm sort of just really aware now of plastic and consumption, and the processes of vinyl rotocasting aren't particularly environmentally friendly. So if I did, I'd want to do it in a sustainable way, which is totally possible. You can make sustainable materials. But I kind of would like to see the Droplet universe grow. I kind of made a whole story about cloud gods and the water cycle and how it all happened. So I've kind of got plans, but just I really probably need to put in some solid hours.
I remember you did like an exhibition of blanks as well, which I did one on, I remember.
Yeah.
But that was it was in Bristol, but yeah, I can't remember how many people you got on, but that was pretty awesome. But they were a great little shape, man, in the second season that you did, when they all had like their own little quirky elements.
Little bits, yeah.
Right, so yeah, like Gav said, we've only... Anybody else got any questions?
Oh, there we go. You're back.
Mate, it's like, it's nearly 5 o'clock. I think everyone on my estate is logging on the internet to waste their evening away.
Yeah.
Right, I think Aid wants to chat to you and Messenger something about some more fatherhood questions.
Nice. Aid, always welcome to fatherhood questions, mate.
Let's see if anyone else has got any creative chit chat. If not, I think we've covered fucking lots of bit. Sorry for the swearing, actually. It's slipping out. I think we've covered a lot of bases.
Boom.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for having me, mate. It's an absolute pleasure.
Mate, yeah, thank you for jumping on. I know you're a bit of a live stream expert along with Mr. Signal Noise.
We like it every Wednesday. Yeah, we really like it. It's fun, isn't it? I think we just wanted to, we love the creative energy of chatting. And actually, Insta Live is the easiest because you just hit a button and then it splits it in two and jobs are good. And it's nice. I think that's kind of important. That's cool to make it to lowest barrier to entry, right?
Yeah, it's the probably the main highlight for me actually of this lockdown experience, kind of remembering what it is I love about the art AnyForty, so it's the artists that I work with, and just getting a chance to have chats with people again, chatting about the past, chatting about current dates and creative things, because it's not something a lot of us get time to do. Like I don't pick up the phone and ever ring you and be like, hey Gav, how are you doing? We just don't get the time really.
No, this is, yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Actually, we've started connecting more with people sort of virtually, but that's great. There's no thing, people go, oh well, we should have done that. Well, no, it's great if we're connecting now. Great, that's what's important right now. That's great.
That's it. And just it's brilliant. Right, mate, well, we're going to get cut off in a moment, so I'll just say thank you very much for giving up an hour of your very busy time. And yeah, that was wicked. If anyone's got any further questions for you, they know where you're at
on the internet, always.
And yeah, man, have a good weekend, and hopefully I'll see you in the real life soon.
Please, that'd be good. Right, bye everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Al. You're a star.
I'll see you soon, mate. Take it easy, yeah.
Bye.
Right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. Another wicked hour chit-chatting. Like I said before, that's the end of season 1. So we've had 12 brilliant live stream episodes. We are going to come back, but we're just going to take a week's rest. So yeah, we'll see you probably a week on Tuesday with the next live stream. Until then, stay safe. Peace!